Your bank account currently sits at $650 million. But right now, your boss is screaming at you over a late spreadsheet. Let me explain why.
Because being completely invisible is the ultimate superpower. It's 6 a.m. on a rainy Tuesday in Denver. The alarm goes off, pulling you back into the simulation. You drag yourself to the kitchen. No private chefs, no ocean views, just a cramped apartment and cheap instant coffee poured into the same dented, silver travel mug you've had for 5 years. It's bitter, just like the commute you're about to take. You sit in your beat-up sedan. The windshield wipers scrape back and forth. You are surrounded by a sea of red taillights. Thousands of other people, all trapped in the exact same traffic jam, driving to jobs they tolerate, to buy things they don't need. But you're just playing a character. You walk into the sterile, gray corporate lobby. The fluorescent lights buzz above your head. People in stiff suits rush past you. To them, you are just Max, the quiet logistics coordinator in a $20 faded hoodie. You swipe your badge and sit down in your tiny gray cubicle. The trap is set. At 9 a.m., the daily torture begins. A 3-hour all-hands Zoom call. Your department VP, a guy who wears fleece vests indoors and uses words like synergy and bandwidth, is red in the face. He's pointing at a chart that's trending downwards. He says everyone is replaceable. You just nod. You take a slow sip from your dented mug. Later, at lunch, you sit alone in the break room eating a prepackaged sandwich. You hear your co-workers whispering in the corner in sheer panic. HR just sent out an email about budget cuts and a potential salary freeze. You open the email. You read the corporate jargon threatening your $80,000 a year livelihood. And for a brief second, you almost smile. You look out the dusty office window. They think they have power over you. They have absolutely no idea what you did 3 years ago.
Let's rewind. 3 years ago, you were working a late overtime shift. The office was pitch black, lit only by the glow of your dual monitors. You were auditing the automated freight software, staring at thousands of lines of transaction logs. And then, you saw it. A glitch. A tiny decimal point calculation error in the fuel surcharges. It was charging clients an extra 4 cents per transaction, but the money wasn't going to the company. It was just floating in the digital void. 4 cents. To a multi-billion-dollar global shipping corporation, it was statistical dust, a rounding error. But to a guy who knows how to write code, it was the key to the vault. You didn't steal from anyone. You just built a net. You wrote a beautiful, recursive Python script designed to catch those lost microcents before they vanished and redirect them to a decentralized wallet. You named it the Ghost. Your finger hovered over the Enter key. You pressed it. 10 seconds later, your phone buzzed. Plus $1.20. By midnight, $1,200. You just made your weekly salary in 6 hours while drinking cheap coffee. The matrix was broken. By month 6, the Ghost was quietly clearing $40,000 a week. When normal people make their first million, they lose their minds. They buy a neon Lamborghini, they flex on Instagram, and within a year, the IRS, or corporate security, kicks down their door. You knew better. You understood the golden rule of absolute power. Wealth is only a weapon if it remains completely invisible. You didn't quit your job. You didn't buy a Rolex. You kept wearing the exact same dark hoodie. Instead,
You quietly booked a weekend flight to Zurich. You sat across from a Swiss wealth manager in a bespoke suit, drank from your dented travel mug, and set up an impenetrable network of offshore trusts. You washed the digital cents into real, bulletproof assets. And then, you flew back to Denver in coach, ate a $5 frozen pizza on your apartment floor, and went to work on Monday.
Fast forward to today. Your balance is $650 million. Sure, you bought a few toys behind closed doors. You bought a massive concrete penthouse overlooking the city. But you kept it empty. Minimalist. A silent fortress. You bought a custom matte black supercar. It sits in a locked underground garage. You don't drive it to work. You don't show it off. You just sit next to it sometimes, drinking coffee, appreciating the engineering. Because nothing provides better cover than a mediocre 9-to-5. Which brings us back to today. The VP calls you into his office. He's aggressively tapping his pen, telling you that if your metrics don't improve, you'll be put on a performance plan. You look at him. You could buy his mortgage, double his interest rate, and evict him today. You could buy the entire building and turn his office into a storage closet. But you don't, because barking is for dogs. True power is having the red button sitting in your pocket and simply choosing not to press it. You nod politely. You promise the VP you'll do better. You walk back to your cubicle. You sit down. You open your email client. You type to CEO, subject, immediate resignation. Your finger hovers over the mouse. This is it. You are one click away from walking out of this building forever, flying to a private island, and never looking at a spreadsheet again. You look at the send button. And then, you laugh. You realize that leaving ruins the joke. The greatest entertainment in your life is watching this absurd corporate theater from the front row, knowing you own the theater. You move the mouse. You click Delete Draft. At exactly 5 p.m., you close your laptop, grab your mug, and walk out. You walk across the highway overpass. Below you, thousands of cars are stuck in the Friday rush hour traffic. Everyone is running a race they can never win. But you stepped off the track a long time ago. You walk into your dark, quiet apartment. You drop the keys. No screens, no stress, just absolute, silent freedom. Tomorrow the alarm will ring again. You'll put on the hoodie. You'll log in, just for the plot. But let me ask you a question. What would you do if you woke up tomorrow with $650 million in absolute secret? Would you flex? Or would you become a ghost? Let me know in the comments. And hit subscribe if you want to learn how to build your own ghost machine. I'll see you at the next Zoom meeting.